Hi, everybody. It's Kristen Williams with the Williams team here in Austin. Hope you guys have had a great day and a great week. Just here to give you my weekly what's going on in the real estate industry and real estate market. For the most part, Austin is very stable. We're just seeing the same similar trends. We're having a smaller amount of listing inventory hit the market. What we're seeing is the homes that are on the market for 7 days or less are going under contract and selling right around 3% above asking price. So that trend has been pretty stable over the last couple, maybe 6 weeks or so. And I kind of expect it to continue. So like highlights on what's going on is, opportunity for buyers. Interest rates are still low. It's not quite as competitive out there. We had clients that put a home under contract. It had just had a good solid price reduction. They fell in love with it. It was in the right price point for them. And then they made an offer. It was accepted right away without any competition. So I would say the opportunity there, seller opportunity is just, it has to be priced well and it has to be in good condition. So that's kind of what we're seeing. The one thing I wanted to really touch on was the headlines that a lot of people are probably seeing about mortgage forbearance and how that ended recently and what impact that's going to have on our market. And in general, the impact that's probably going to have on our market is we're probably going to have a small increase in listing inventory, a larger listing inventory than we would have normally expected, but probably not a significant, like big shift and a big change. Basically, what it's been happening is since the pandemic, people who've had a mortgage and who were eligible and signed up for mortgage forbearance just haven't been paying a mortgage. And then now they're required to now pay their mortgage. So most people who want to keep their home will probably be able to pay their mortgage. We are at a low unemployment rate across the country. So overall, people who want to have a mortgage and want to own their home are likely still able to afford and pay their mortgage. And then people who don't want to have a mortgage or don't want to have or cannot afford will probably be able to sell on the regular market without having to go into foreclosure or short sale, because the difference in our market now versus when we had an economic collapse in 2011 and 10, 11, 12, is that people have equity in their homes. The values have appreciated substantially over the last 2 years since we've been in this pandemic. And so buyers are really not upside, or sellers are really not upside down on their home values. Equity, they have equity. So they're probably not going to sacrifice the equity and they'll be able to sell their home on a regular market. And it's that percentage of people who don't want to keep their home, who want to sell it, who are now eligible to sell it because they're out of forbearance, may list their home and would list it on the regular market and be able to sell it. So we might see an increase in inventory, but it's unlikely that it's going to have a significant increase. We still have significant low inventory across the United States, really across the globe. And so I don't necessarily, economists are not necessarily predicting that this is going to be a major economic shift in listing inventory and supply and demand. It might increase our supply a little bit, which would be super helpful for buyers, but it's probably not going to help it so much so that the demand is not going to be able to exceed the listing inventory that we have on the market. So I know a lot of times you see headlines and it's, scare tactics and it sounds like doom and gloom, but it's probably not as significant as some of the headlines might make it sound. So that, or at least that's what the economists that study the real estate market and how that's going to impact the housing market are saying. So have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. I'm always here to have those conversations with you, and hope all is well in your world. I know it's another weekend of ACL here in Austin, and it's Texas OU weekend as well. So hook 'em horns. Have a great Friday, and we'll talk to you next Friday.